getting here instead of getting to the next stage, right? They were so excited about everything. Now we got to see if they can take to the next
Yeah,
level.
Raz, do you have anything to add, or
Nothing at all.
are
I
we
agree with
good?
them.
There we go. EDG favorites. Can DFM force the upset? Let's see. Let's go over to Captain Flowers and VODs. Yay!
Thank you very much, Shocks, and welcome to our next series. I'm Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns here with my recently promoted dedicated demolitions expert, Andrew VODs Day, ready to really get explosive on this one.
Yeah, I'm ready for this matchup. DetonatioN FocusMe versus Edward Gaming. Edward Gaming are considered the heavy favorites, but DetonatioN FocusMe have done nothing but surprises so far in this Plains Captain Flowers, and already in this draft, the bans have come through thick and fast.
Well, we've gone through the bans already. The first 6 are done. Akali, Rakan, Alistair, all banned away by DetonatioN FocusMe. Edward Gaming looking to get that top lane pool trimmed down a little bit. Aatrox, Urgot banned away, along with Tom Kench.
And Evie gets himself the Camille. They decide to prioritize it, and the Heimerdinger has been left open for Seros. That's why Edward Gaming are hovering it a little bit there. But I love these bans coming out from Edward Gaming too. They're forcing Evie away from some of these big bruisers like the Urgot and the Aatrox, banning both themselves, but also banning the Tahm Kench, taking it away from Vivid, one of his best performing supports. It will, though, leave open iBoy's most comfortable champion in the Kai'Sa. This guy has racked up so many games on the champion and is incredible when you get past the 20-minute mark.
The champion, having that be your most played champion is a good thing. Having your most played champion be one of the absolute strongest champions in the game right now is incredible. It is the most played AD carry throughout the play-ins so far. It's going to be played again here by Edward Gaming, along with that Gragas that's also been locked in.
Important to note as well, Clearlove has been put in for the first game of this best of 5 series. No Haro, they're looking for a little bit more of that leadership and experience that Clearlove does provide for Edward Gaming. For the time being, a bit of a hover. Are we going to get the lock-in? We get
There it
the
is,
Heimerdinger.
baby. Heimerdinger showing up here in game 1.
This is a big pick for Seros, something that he played a lot during the regular season of the LJL, constantly having respect bans through the play-in stages, but he's going to get his hands on it. This is going to be exciting to watch.
We'll see what else they want to go with here before the second part of the bans come in. Looks like they're looking towards that support role. Thinking about the Thresh, they'll lock that one in too.
Wow, confident lock-in in the support. Vivid. Ooh, and an instant reply from Scout. I'm really excited about this mid lane matchup because remember, in the group stages, Jensen locked in the Aurelia against Zeros' Ziggs, yet Zeros was able to come out on top. Now this could be Scout saying, you know what, I'm more than happy to play this champion into your matchup. Will we see Zeros be able to perform on the champions that he's comfortable with again?
And if he can, Irelia is one of those champions that can absolutely take over a game with how strong she is and how much outplay potential is built into the kit if you can play it right. Getting into the second round of bans, though, it's Varus, banned away by Edward Gaming. DetonatioN FocusMe, targeting the jungle here, getting rid of the Nocturne.
And Edward just taking away some more AD carries from Utapon. Some of his big comforts were things like the Varus. He also played a lot of Ezreal during the regular season, but we haven't seen a huge amount of it so far. He could go for the Jhin, something that does push pretty well during the laning phase and can match up quite nicely with the Thresh. We'll have to wait and see, but interestingly, Edward Gaming only throw one ban towards the AD carry, and will also take away the Olaf, kind of showing respect towards, okay, we have Gragas in the jungle, we want to get through the early game pretty safe, and we don't want Steel to have something that he can skirmish and get early leads with.
DetonatioN FocusMe going to ban out the Poppy as their final ban of this first game, targeting something that could go into the top lane or the jungle. Interesting to also note the Nocturne ban means they're acknowledging the fact that Gragas is the most played champion of Ray throughout the regular summer split in the LPL. So they're saying that's not something we're expecting to go into the jungle. We're predicting that to go into the top side, target the jungle pool continuously instead, as Nautilus is locked in for EDG.
Nautilus has the ability to be flexed in both bot and top and jungle even, but we already saw it in the Gambit versus C9 series how Nautilus can be an answer to the Thresh. Interestingly, DetonatioN FocusMe going to go for the Tristana, more of the scaling option. Should have push in lane, assuming you have a favorable support matchup, but in this instance, I would give it over to Edward Gaming. So I'm expecting EDG to have priority in that bot side of the map, and you would expect Scout being on this Aurelia, he will have priority in mid as well. But Heimerdinger versus Aurelia, honestly not a matchup I've seen a lot of, Captain Flowers.
I can't say I'm very well versed in it either, my friend. It's one of those that you only get to see every great once in a while, but one thing that you do get to see pretty frequently throughout the course of 2018 has been the Trundle. That locked in for the side of DetonatioN FocusMe means they'll have some of that control element there in the jungle, as Edward Gaming has one more pick to go, and this time around, they're going with Shen.
Shen, you would assume, up towards the top side of the map, going to be played into the Camille. Often considered a bit of a counter pick thanks to the Spirit's Refuge and how well you can skirmish against the Camille in the early game. Something we'll get to keep an eye on, but I do really like this draft from Edward Gaming. They were expecting a lot of the picks to come out from DetonatioN FocusMe. They probably expected a bit more of a priority on the Heimerdinger, but DetonatioN FocusMe were like, I don't think Scout plays Heimerdinger, so I don't think we have to worry about it. They saved it a little bit later into the draft, but then immediately the Aurelia came through, and you would imagine that iBoy goes more towards the AP build, meaning that they still have a mix of damage all across the board as well.
And of course, the presence of Shen in this game for Edward Gaming means that anytime DetonatioN FocusMe are trying to make a play on anybody that's not that Shen, you've got to keep in mind the possibility of him showing up and turning the tides if Stand United is off of cooldown. Always something that's got to be in the back of your mind playing up against that champion.
Certainly the case. It also sets up for a lot of bot lane plays. If you want to be proactive, the Nautilus has the ulti plus the hook combined with something like the Gragas setup. You throw Shen in there too, and that bot lane could be in some serious trouble in the early game. But it looks like that DetonatioN FocusMe, they're looking happy, they're looking confident. The high fives are coming out, the smiles are across the board. They know that this is going to be a challenging best of 5. They know the EDG are the favorites, but they're coming in with comfort and they're coming in looking to create the upset.
And they're coming into this stage for the first time. This is a team this is a region, I should say, that has not previously got past play-in groups. To now be here, you've already gone further than ever before for your region. To be able to win here in a best of 5 against EDG would be incredible for this squad. And EDG too, this is a team that has never won a best of 5 at Worlds. This is your opportunity to change that if you're Edward Gaming.
So what you're saying is history could be made today, Captain Flowers.
Either way, my friend, either the representatives from Japan find themselves into the main stage, or EDG will break that curse and win their first best of 5 at Worlds. We'll see how the dust settles here as the teams do make their way onto Summoner's Rift for Game 1. Drawing that line of scrimmage here early on, EDG grouped up in a cluster just in case there's any sort of an invade coming from DetonatioN.
Steel just taking the defensive approach along with the rest of DetonatioN FocusMe. The turret's already coming out from Saros. You want to kind of push them up in the lane very early on so that you can start stacking, get that early push out as well. And here are the Heimerdinger stats for Saros. 5 wins, 1 loss during the regular season, an impressive 4.7 KDA, a huge damage percentage of 32.6, and you can see from the damage per minute that that's not because the rest of his team aren't doing damage.
Right, he is just completely destroying the damage meters in the game where he gets to play this champion, and with that, what is it, 86% win rate, something like that, he knows his way around Heimerdinger. I really look forward to seeing how this team plays around him and how they're able to find maximum use out of this champion, because it is so much different playing against it than it is really any other champion in League of Legends because of the way you have to play around the turrets, and really just give so much respect to what he's able to do in a variety of situations, as he will maintain push control early on in the lane, as Heimerdinger pretty much always does.
And you would assume that with the Aurelia, one of her greatest strengths is her ability to very quickly dash in between minions. And you've got to remember that on recent patches, she was buffed in her Blade Surge damage to minions, which means that that wave clear tool against the turret is that bit stronger. So early levels, yes, you would imagine Saros has to be, will have the lane control, but as the lane goes on, once Scout gets a couple levels under his belt, especially once he gets the Sheen, Saros has to respect the all-in potential that an Aurelia often has.
The man on your screen right now, Evie on this Camille in the top lane, he's a player that has been doing a lot of work for DetonatioN FocusMe so far throughout the play-in stage. He's put up some of the best numbers for top laners throughout all the groups. And the interesting thing about that is, the other player that's put up the best numbers is Licorice from Cloud9, who was in the same group as Evie. So to put up those kind of numbers, especially against the other main guy you're competing with, has been really impressive from him. And I'm looking at him to be one of those key players if DetonatioN FocusMe want to step up and find a win.
And their tiebreaker versus Kaboom is where he was really able to stand out. He got himself on the Urgot, and what's crazy about him is his insane kill participation. He sits at around 86% for top laners, which is just ridiculous. The fact that a top laner would be that involved in so many of the kills just goes to show how well he plays with his team and how much of an impact he can have.
Speaking of impact, there's a lot of damage coming out from those turrets, making an impact on Scout's health bar here in the mid lane, taking him down to about 200 HP on this Irelia. It is going to be summoner spells used by both players here in that mid lane. Ignite down for Scout, Barrier down for Seros. As Seros will just continue pushing up with those potions. As you can see, the junglers, Steel in the enemy jungle, trying to live up to his name, get some of those camps, snuck away from Clearlove, who will now make his way towards the top side of the map, but no camps to take.
You can also see priority in the bot, bit of skirmishing going on.
Vivid very, very low, might be taken down here. EDG looking to find that early aggro. They've got it for first blood.
And this is the duo that we were talking about in the draft, iBoy and Mako. A very confident duo that constantly looks to play aggressive during the laning phase. iBoy has so many games on this Kai'Sa, and so many times they've been able to find those 2 versus 2 kills. And when you pair it up with the Nautilus, a pick that's often considered a good matchup into the Thresh due to his beefy body and strong trading pattern, it enables you to punish those slight oversteps, and EDG, they find first blood.
And you mentioned in Champion Select when we saw the Kai'Sa locked in, after 20 minutes, she's a monster. She's looking pretty monstrous 4 minutes into this game.
And Vivid just tries to punish iBoy by using the Flay, but it's Mako who ends up getting the punish off. Landing the hook into the root from his passive, into the slow, is more than enough burst, especially when you have iBoy's passive stacked in there as well. So EDG finding a lot of success in the 2 versus 2 already, and they'll look to maintain this pressure as the game continues.
And what has been one of our talking points about EDG throughout the entirety of the play-ins, how explosive this team can be in the early game. Pre-15 minutes, EDG makes things happen, and they're looking to do it again if they can get Ray out of this one. DetonatioN FocusMe trying to find something here in the top part of the map. Ray getting himself back underneath the tier 1 turret. One shot down onto Steel as Clearlove shows up in time to make sure this dive doesn't end up playing through. Will just walk himself right back into his own jungle as DetonatioN FocusMe can't find the kill there.
A lot of good early vision coming out from EDG across the board. You can see on the top side of the map, he was able to spot out the pathing that Steel decided to take, allowing them to counter-gank this. And now Clearlove is the one looking for an early gank.
Clearlove trying to see if he can make his way onto that Heimerdinger. Not quite yet. Summoner spell was still down there in the mid lane in the form of that barrier as Mako goes in for the engage onto Vivid. There's no way to get out of this when it's another free kill going over the way of EDG in the bottom side of the map. Evie looking to make the dive topside onto Ray is going to be potentially outplayed as Ray nearly finds the kill and forces him to flash back out.
Action happens across the board as iBoy and Mako find another 2 versus 2 kill. Clearlove now coming bot to try and secure some extra early leads.
Oh, they are snowballing this bottom lane completely out of control, Vedius. It's Clearlove setting up that kill there, making sure he grabs some credit for it. Mako having to use the flash to not die there to the turret afterwards, but it is all EDG this early game.
EDG just constantly look for plays in the early game. Only 6 minutes in, and they have found themselves 3 quick kills onto the LJL squad of DetonatioN FocusMe. Here is Steel just trying to help wave clear. Udapon showing enough respect, and the burst from these 3 members combined with the chain CC is more than enough to secure the kill.
And here's some stats for you from this EDG early game that we've been hyping up. First in gold difference at 15, second in turrets at 15, first in kills at 15, 5th in deaths at 15. This team gets active very early into the game. They put themselves in a spot where they're in control once mid-game comes around. Scout not going to find the ulti there onto Seros in the mid lane. Was thinking about going aggro, but won't be able to now as Steel makes another appearance here into the top side. Ray's trying to hold on, get himself out of this one. Drops the Spirit Refuge as the Hextech ultimatum is issued. Makes his way back underneath the turret, but is it going to be enough? Steel's taken very low. One more turret shot will bring him down, heal or not. King's Tribute, not enough to make sure he stays alive from that one, even with the triumph, so it's 1 for 1, top side.
And the fact that Ray is able to get himself a kill in a 2v1 situation is the best case scenario for him. Yes, Ray is able to find a kill, but the action isn't quite over yet.
Scout goes for the point-blank stun onto Seros, but he steps out of the way of it, so he avoids any further damage from that Irelia. But bottom side, iBoy and Mako have just completely taken over this bottom part of the map. Vivid and Udapon trying to fight back in the 2 versus 2, recognizing their opponents are caught between 2 turrets. There's no way to just walk out on this one, but iBoy's got no intention of getting himself out. There's the Stand United I'm talking about. It's never a fair fight with Shen, and that fair fight is a long dream away as Vivid now heads for the hills and runs as fast as his little legs are gonna take him. But I don't think that Thresh wants to head back into bottom lane anytime soon. iBoy making sure that he supplies the damage as Ray gets the killing blow onto the tier 1 turret, and it's already down, Vedius, 8 minutes in.
EDG doing what they do best and just dominate their opposition in the laning phase. 25 CS advantage for iBoy. He has 3 kills at only 8 minutes into the game. And this is just them diving. They land another hook onto Yutapon. Vivid and Yutapon think, okay, actually, Meiko is taking a lot of damage here, but then the Shen ulti comes in. They punish Yutapon immediately, and iBoy, he just hit level 6. He could easily dive this. He has the shields, he has the heal. There's everything that they need to secure these extra kills and just continually shut down this DFM bot lane.
Vivid, happy to escape on that one, but when you lose your AD carry, you lose your turret, and that enemy Kai'Sa is sitting on 3-0-1 with a 16 CS lead 8.5 minutes into the game. You've got to start thinking about how is this even going to play out if this guy keeps rolling like this as time goes on.
Yeah, just look at the gold differences between the two AD carries. 2,700 gold in the pocket of iBoy. That is the advantage that he holds. I believe he'll have a completed item. Oh, he's decided to just rush Greaves and then work towards the Rage Blade. Still very close though. But for 9 minutes in, still insanely early.
He went for the Berserker's Greaves as soon as they got that first kill early on in the bottom lane, but now it's Evie moving up into the enemy jungle, trying to take control over that area. Low mana on Scout means he is going to have to go back to base for now as Ray eats a lot of damage there from the grenade into the turrets. For those who aren't familiar with the way it works, if you hit somebody with the grenade and the turrets are in range, they instantly prime and fire the laser for quite a lot of burst.
Yeah, but now they're actually setting up for a dive in mid. It will just force Ray away so that DFM can at least get a bit more map control. But iBoy, he's working on this tower up in the top lane, and EDG will do what they can to wait for him.
Clear Love not finding a lot with that explosive cast, but EDG now still looking to go in, maybe find some sort of a fight here. Meiko goes in, drops down that ultimate, continuing to chase after the Heimerdinger. Scout's not able to find the ulti of his own, still looking to go in even further. Hextech ultimatum down to Scout. DFM still looking to fight back. They may take down Scout, but they've already lost their own mid laner, and they're running for their lives. iBoy's able to find the Void Seeker. It's still going to be a 2-for-1 fight going the way of EDG as they'll chase Vivid to the wrong side of the map. He's still looking to get away somewhere, but Clear Love's got the barrel. He'll walk into the brush. Vivid, I don't think you're getting out of this one, buddy.
Vivid, unfortunately, lamb to the slaughter as he's doing what he can, but it's not enough. EDG secure themselves another kill. Vivid's still only level 5, 11 minutes into the game. DetonatioN, FocusMe. I'm sure they weren't expecting this kind of an early game performance from EDG, but here we can see EDG, they're able to collapse in time. Their wave clear is enough to secure to keep the tower alive. DFM split up, but then they regroup after Seros uses his flash. Now, Scout overcommits here. He's by himself and he's used already all of his crowd control. And at this point, they're able to get the kill, but then you can see a great double taunt comes in from Ray. And then the moment iBoy joins the fight, you just know things fall apart.
Scout's accuracy hasn't exactly been where you would want it to be so far on the Irelia ultimates, but his team is doing so much, it doesn't really matter. It's not like it's hurting him too badly to not be landing these. Still, he's going 1-for-1 there on the overall kills with those mid laners. But EDG is sitting on an 8-2 advantage. They're sitting on a 4,000 gold lead. They've got the only Elemental Drake taken so far this game, and now they're setting up shop around the Rift Herald. Look at the control wards placed in this northern half of the river by EDG, blocking off the DFM vision, making it so dangerous, Vedius, to even come anywhere close to this.
Yeah, the gold deficit that DFM are in right now, they can't look to contest. They're just going to have to concede and wait for EDG to make a mistake. Now, what we can say is that EDG have made mistakes before.
Yes, sir.
Past the 15-minute mark, they've left themselves vulnerable to being caught out of position. But it does feel like that when pressure is on the line and EDG, an important game is in front of them, that's when we see players like iBoy really step into his own. 4-0-1 right now. You think back to the Gauntlet, he was a big part of why they were able to secure that 5th and final game win. And based on how he's performing already in Game 1, you can understand why EDG are considered such heavy favorites in this series.
And he's done such a good job so far this game. Him and Mako as well. Mako really dialing those hooks in on the Nautilus, enabling iBoy, setting him up with that CC, adding the stacks of plasma, facilitating this Kai'Sa to do what she needs to do. Rageblade already online means she's that much closer to being that mid to late game Kai'Sa that is just this massive threat that everyone else in the game has to play around, as the tier 1 turret will now be beset by Shelly, as bottom side Detonation FocusMe look to make the 2 versus 1 happen here yet again. Ray nowhere near a turret, gonna be hard pressed to get himself out of this one, does flash out though, and he will escape.
And DFM doing what they often did during the regular season, which was play around Evie. The guy likes to play carry top laners, and Camille is one of his favorites. Usually in the early game, you'll see Steel invest a lot of ganks towards the top side of the map, start to get things snowballing, and then Evie, he can carry by himself. We saw him do this during the group stages, but unfortunately the game unfolded as we see another fight up top.
Scouts going straight in for the dive here. Stand United means he's going to have backup here in just a moment. Ray goes in for the taunt, can't quite find it, but he's still got the damage to go on a rampage and take the turret down as well. That is turret number 3 for the side of EDG as they lose their mid laner for the 2nd time this game.
3 versus 1, Seros does his best to survive and perhaps even find himself a kill, but he doesn't have the flash. There's too much CC on the side of EDG, and they end up finding themselves a kill. And you can see here, Scout finally lands his ultimate. Seros just stands still, using his ultimate 2. And he's throwing what cannons down he can, but Aurelia does such a great job of clearing those out that, unfortunately for Seros, he doesn't quite have the damage needed to find the kill. And you add to that a Shen ulti, means that EDG find themselves another kill on the board.
And this Shen has done so much. Bottom lane, when you saw the 2 versus 2 dive become a 3 versus 2, now even in the top side, providing the Stand United with the extra pressure to get that kill, EDG is getting value out of this big ultimate. And whenever I see a champion like Shen locked in, that's what I want to see. Every time that thing's off cooldown, you should be getting a payday somewhere on the map, and that's what they've done.
He even found himself a kill in a 1v2 gank up towards the top side of the map, and Ray showcasing his potential. Fought 1 and 2 so far, as you highlighted, and he's just going to be waiting for that to come back up before EDG look to make another proactive play. Drake is available on the board. Like, we haven't really talked much about objectives because of how fast-paced the game has been for EDG.
Yeah.
DFM doing what they can to gain a little bit of control back across the map, but Baron is still a way away. The main goal for EDG now will be to start setting up a bit of deep vision. In fact, maybe even play towards the bot side, because you can see already they have a huge minion wave, a lot of deep wards covering that area of the map. And Ray is confident that he can hold Seros by himself.
And they are just moving everyone down here into the bottom side DFM jungle. iBoy walks up, and Udapon has to immediately concede anything nearby because he knows he can't fight that Kai'Sa one-on-one right now. He does have the Stormrazor on the Tristana, but iBoy is going for that AP heavier build, like you mentioned in Champion Select, going for the Nashor's Tooth next after the Rageblade, as the second Cloud Drake of the game is going to spawn, and EDG will move in to clean that one up pretty easily for themselves and just get that much more move speed, that much more ability to roam around between these lanes, throw down wards, set up traps, and make it so anywhere that's not immediately lit up by some kind of vision is a death trap for Detonation Focus.
And it looks like a 3rd Cloud Drake will be on the board, so not only is it a difficult day for DFM, but it looks like things are going to get only... I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm going to abandon it extremely quickly. EDG in the early game.
EDG in the early game.
3,500 gold lead, Flowers.
And that's not even... That's practically half of what they've got this game.
Yeah.
They're saying, you thought we were good in groups? Let me teach you about some knockouts. Because these guys are looking like they really want to knock DFM out and get themselves the main event as quickly as possible. We are, however, 16 minutes into the game. We are past that threshold that everybody always looks at EDG to be so explosive and so well put together and just in their element, that 0 to 15 minute mark, the early game. Now we're into the part of the game where EDG do make more of those mistakes, like you've talked about before. We saw the incredible comeback that Infinity had versus them on the final day of play in groups. Now, I'm not saying that's something that you can expect to happen every single game, but it does showcase that this team is not completely invincible. There are vulnerabilities in that armor, and now Detonation FocusMe has to hold on as they proceed into the mid-game.
The big difference between when that happens and when it doesn't, though, is the jungles. And you think back, Haro was in that game when the upset happened, and he's the kind of more mechanically skilled jungler, the guy that will force a lot more plays. He'll be involved in a lot more kills, and he will generate you much bigger gold leads. Whereas Clearlove, he's a lot more calculated, he's a lot more calm, relies on his experience, and he's the kind of guy that will help guide them through this mid game. And that's ideally what you'd want from EDG. Remember, it's a long series. They're relying on his experience for the time being. They still have the option of swapping in Haro, but so far, when you can rely on your laners to generate this kind of a lead, having the experience of Clearlove means that your mid game should be cleaner.
And I mean, at 1-0 and 2 so far, yeah, Clearlove has participated in 3 out of 9 of the total kills, but he hasn't given away any deaths. He's still out farming his opponent, who at 0-3 and 2 on the Trundles, not having a very fantastic game. Honestly, EDG pretty much doing whatever they want on Summoner's Rift right now, moving up towards that enemy chicken camp, trying to steal it away, but Steel makes sure that that's not going to happen on his watch. Vivid's still only level 8 on this Thresh. Very, very squishy, super vulnerable if he gets caught out. Has some consumables and a shoe and a ward item, and that is it.
That is indeed it. Vivid, he's had a very solid performance on a lot of the pure supports that we saw him play. Things like the Tahm Kench and the Soraka were good to watch. But getting his hands on the Thresh, going up against a support like Mako, you can see that every time he tried to be proactive, he was immediately punished. And they might have to review their game plan moving throughout this series, because this EDG bot lane is clearly very terrifying, and trying to be the ones proactively getting a lead against them can often be your undoing.
And I think reviewing and adapting and these words that we use to describe what you should be doing in between your games of a series are so incredibly important for these teams now as they proceed into the knockout stage. You've played best of 1 so far, but now that you're into the best of 5, now that there is that ability to change up the plan between these phases of the match, you really need to step that up, especially for two teams that have had the weaknesses historically that these two have. Ray now finding himself in that Hextech ultimatum yet again. Subjugate going to be used to shred those resistances. Pillar comes out. Evie looking to go even further here, but Mako showed up to make it a fair fight. Drops the ulti down onto Evie, who's now going to find himself left alone and hung out to dry as the shutdown comes through, and it's kill number 10 for EDG.
And still doing what he knows best, which is try and get Evie ahead, but at this point in the game, the Camille is even struggling to be able to quickly kill Ray, and EDG were able to move down, offer support for their top laner, and end up turning that play around in EDG's favor. And I like the fact that DFM are at least still trying to gain something back on the map, still trying to funnel resources into their one potential carry who's had a decent early game, but right now EDG have too much control. EDG are able to punish every play that you make, and you're just relying on either a potential Baron steal or for EDG to really overcommit to a play.
That's pretty much it at this point in time. 6,500 gold lead, 20 minutes in is a very steep hill to have to climb up. DetonatioN, FocusMe, level 12 on the solo laners. Their opponent's level 13 on those solo lanes. It's pretty much one level up across the board, with the exception being the bottom lane, which is a little bit askew from that, as EDG will move themselves towards the Baron pit, sweeping away some of that vision. With Baron now alive, when you have a team that has Irelia, and specifically and especially Kai'Sa, she destroys Baron, absolutely shreds the thing. And if DFM get caught out of position, if they have somebody that can't make it to the fight in time, if you give EDG 10 solid seconds, it's gone. Now,
they still have to respect it, though.
Absolutely.
This early on into the game, Baron still hurts a lot, and while you do have Ray as a tank, you've just got to be wary, right? You don't just want to run the risk of giving DFM a steal or giving them a favorable fight in that kind of a choke point, because that is how you throw the game. So instead, they're just using the priority that Ray has been able to get build down the bot lane, and because of all the vision that EDG have controlled towards the bot side of the map, it means that Evie is forced to play back. He's forced to show that respect, and that gives EDG another tower, but now they're looking for a fight.
Want to go in here. There's the ultimate coming out from the Irelia. Heimerdinger will be pulled to safety by the Lantern there. Beautiful looking to get himself away, but Ivo's coming in with the killer instinct. Clearlove looking to engage. Can't quite find the cast just yet. Has to go into the stasis. Ray's going to be tanking up the turret the entirety of the time. Still taken very low as EDG goes dominating for their top laner, grabbing the kill onto that enemy support. That's 1-0 EDG.
It looked initially like an overcommitment from EDG, but they knew they had the summoner spells, they knew they had the Shen ultimate as well, and they walk away with another kill onto Vivid. EDG now have a pushing wave in, they're looking for a fight.
Still trying to find even more off of this one. Not content just grabbing the one kill, they need even more. Stepping up, looking to put some damage onto the turret as they're trying to get the kill onto Evie, and they've already got it. Steel going to be in danger of dropping here next. The double kill goes over to Scout, who's now behind enemy lines, but totally comfortable hanging out as DetonatioN drops to clear love, and EDG get exactly what they were looking for.
And that is 3 extra kills now going in the favor of EDG. They have blood in their eyes as they continue their onslaught through the LJL squad. DFM. I imagine this was not the early game that they were expecting, but this is the kind of brute force that you have to deal with when going up against the LPL powerhouse.
EDG just making this game so fast right now. This is a team that already has incredibly fast game times, Vedius. Let's take another look at how this one all went down in Acer Predator replay.
So Scout uses his mobility to close the gap between him and Saros. Saros fortunately has the Thresh Lantern, but then there's this choke point that Clearlove sees an opportunity to flash in, but a good hook coming out from Vivid is enough to interrupt what could have been an even worse situation. And at this point, EDG are underneath the tower, so you think maybe they can get a couple of kills, maybe they can turn this one around, but then Ray gets the heal from iBoy. He drops the Spirit's Refuge as well to buy enough time to escape, and it ends up being EDG with a kill advantage, and then they just dive for more. DFM tried to wave clear, but then a hook didn't even land. It looked like it was going to from Mako, but they didn't need it. You saw Scout just diving in underneath the tower, and with how strong Neorelli is at this point, the tower didn't even phase him.
We're 23 minutes into this game now, and EDG averages ending their games in the play-in group stage 27 minutes and 45 seconds, the second fastest of any team in groups. On day number 2 of the play-ins that they played in, which was day number 4 overall, the game versus Direwolves was 24 minutes. The game versus Infinity was 28 minutes. This team does not like hitting that 30-minute mark, and that means Detonation FocusMe is quickly approaching the point of no return as they're staring down the barrel of a 10,000 gold deficit, of a 12-kill deficit, of 3 Cloud Drakes for their opponents, which means they will be able to catch you. This is frightening for Detonation FocusMe, and you pretty much just have to go all out on some sort of make or break play. Go for the hero play. Go for the Infinity comeback, because just sitting and waiting at this point.
Look at Evie. Look at Evie.
It's so dangerous. Evie's thinking about it, but Scout coming around from the side means there's no way through. Scout not quite finding the stuns. Despite EDG's overall solid performance this game, Scout's accuracy on the Irelia stuns and ultimates has really been lacking. I'm being completely honest here. I have seen a very large amount of these miss. And that is definitely something that I would look to see him improve on for the next game if he plays the champion again. But now the hooks are coming in. Mako's not a man who's going to be missing too much this game as they go in even further. iBoy's trying to find the damage. A killer instinct rings true to the name. And they pick up the kill on Vivid yet again. 0, 5, and 0 on this support. Completely shut down.
And now EDG have set their sights on the Baron. That ward right outside the pit will not see anything, but DFM can be pretty confident that this is going on. The smite is available for Steel, but Ray is going to deny that opportunity away from him.
Yeah, Ray won't let him anywhere even remotely close to the Baron pit, and now that the objective is secure, Evie's coming in and trying to fight Ray, but this isn't really a fight you can do anything with. Evie's going to be forced to flash out of that one as Mako will continue to chase. CC is available. Ray going further forwards. EDG not going to go too crazy on this one just yet. They back up, they shop, they're going for that game-winning push. It's time for what could be the last few minutes of this game if EDG have their way. Let's take another look at how the pick happened in the jungle.
And this is just DFM trying to reclaim some vision control around the top side because they know the Baron is going to be the next big objective. Mako just walks in from the flank and lands a good hook onto Saros, who doesn't quite place the turret in a position that will block it. And then Vivid, he's just trying to help his mid laner. While Saros does get away with his life, it costs him his support. And because the numbers advantage is heavily in favor of EDG and Saros is nowhere near the fight, EDG feel confident enough to force the Baron to secure it and now sit with a 12,000 gold lead and Baron empowered minions.
Detonation FocusMe has to somehow hold the line here. They've still got Silver Lining on the Cloud. They've still got their base entirely intact. All 3 inhibitor turrets still stand. EDG still has 2 more tier 2 turrets to take down, and they're sieging up both of those right now. Middle one falls immediately as Scout is supplying the pressure onto the top lane, and that one will fall here now as well. iBoy and Mako continuing to apply the pressure in the mid lane as Scout also continues the split push. DetonatioN, FocusMe not able to find the opportunity to pull the trigger onto either one of these split push situations. Scout now going to be the one who's engaged on, goes into the stasis. Clearlove looking to disengage things with the cask. iBoy's into the back line. It's a killing spree already for Scout as EDG is running everyone down. Ray goes godlike. This should be the ace. DetonatioN FocusMe is completely wiped out, and EDG will march it down and find their win.
A clean 5-0 for EDG in the base of DetonatioN FocusMe. 20 kills to 2, and EDG are looking to secure game 1.
27 minutes and 45 seconds, I said, was the average game time, Vedius, and EDG has been well above average this game in every metric. They find the Nexus, 20 kills to 2.
Impressive game from EDG. They came into the playoffs looking to play after their upset against Infinity. We saw immediately following when they played against the Direwolves, they looked strong, they looked convincing. And I feel like they were like, okay, enough funny business, enough messing around. We're taking this seriously. And then right off the bat, iBoy and Mako finding multiple 2v2 kills.
Yeah.
The investment towards bot side, Ray finding multiple outplays towards the top side of the map. Everything seems to be going in favor. And Scout, a player we wanted to highlight coming into this game, arguably the weakest player, even though he was 50 CS up, he had a fantastic score across the board. EDG looking dominant.
EDG looked great in that first game, but now let's leave it to the State Farm analyst desk to break it all down.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. And I think, unfortunately for DFM, there is not extremely a lot to break down other than the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, of course, I know you guys have a lot to explain, as always. But on first sight, the fact that there is a very big discrepancy between the early game of EDG and that of DetonatioN FocusMe, Raz.
100%. It felt like the bottom lane really early on. It was a flashback to day one where just the lanes really took over for me. iBoy, Mako, it was just a small discrepancy where the moment the minion wave was trimmed out, Vivid not paying complete attention to the lane was just when he got hooked and when it started to roll over.
And it seemed like it was all over from then for bot lane. At
Yeah,
least.
I mean, DFM got completely smashed, and it did start in that bottom lane. Even from just the rune choices being inconsistent, Press the attack, the aggressive rune choice for Trist, Guardian, the defensive rune choice for Thresh, mismatch, they push up in lane, they die, and it, as you say, didn't get any better from there.
And because of that, mainly our MasterCard player of the game is Mako. Now, I would say you could give it to iBoy as well, but you guys were of the opinion that it was actually this guy that got it all started on the Nautilus.
Yeah, absolutely. This first hook right at level 3, as he's moving up to aggressively flayed, they go in. As soon as this kill happened, the next time they were back in lane, he lands the hook again. And yes, iBoy was there to capitalize, but it was always Mako with incredibly high hook accuracy setting up these plays.
And this is a really old counter matchup that you'd seen, Nautilus into the Thresh. And it is very snowbally in either direction.
Yeah.
When Nautilus gets the first kill, he's not going to stop. And EDG is the type of team that they don't even have the damn jungler down here, but they're willing to just completely push Udapon off the tower.
They do got their top laner, though, with Shen. You as well, Raz, talked about how the Shen is a good pick for Ray in the top lane. I'm of the opinion that it allows him to play an aggressive type of laning phase while still being on a tank champion, so they're not caught in these late game team fights with Fiora trying to teleport in. Instead, they have a Shen.
Yeah, and it's a really good matchup in a lot of the top laners of today. I know it's not good into the Urgot, but specifically we've been seeing a lot of the Scion channeling top laners, so you can really get the taunt down. Camille in this game, so there are a few that you can pick it into, so now Ray's really empowered.
I also know that you guys, on topic of the Nautilus, will do a breakdown of how this exactly works in the laning phase after the break. But to wrap up this game specifically, Jad, of course, it is already historical that DetonatioN FocusMe is here, but we would like to see more out of them. What do they do?
Yeah, so if DFM is to pick up a game, I have some fairly specific things that I want to see. I do want to see Evie on a top lane tank that can push. So that's why I have Urgot or Scion. I think they're two of his better champions. You need to neutralize that and take advantage of some of Scout's weaknesses. The other thing is Nocturne was an unstoppable choice for DFM during the regular season. They can use that to dive bottom lane, and I do want to see them utilize Udapon's larger champion pool. Throughout the regular season, he was 10-1 on marksman, 12-2 on non-marksman, whether those were Mordekaiser, Karthus, or Vladimir. So continue to mix it up. They did it with the Heimerdinger in the mid lane right there. I thought Scout was actually very ready for it. The Aurelia looked at least fairly practiced against it. I think they'd be a little bit less practiced if Udapon can pull out something a little bit unique.
Yeah, Raz, do you agree that it is the bottom lane where you would like to see some more innovative picks? I know that you were a big fan of Udapon coming in to the play-ins.
I thought he's been playing well, and I think in that particular draft, I saw a lot of good things out of Detonation FocusMe. They were pushing out 3 lanes. I mean, Shen was actually starting to do well, but then you see all Steel starting to invade when he saw the adjacent bot side pushing in. So I thought that there were great things happening for Detonation FocusMe. Had their lanes survived a little bit longer, had they been more, I would say, up to par in up to his EDGs, then it would have been much better at it.
Yeah, they have to stop the snowball in any way, shape, or form. And I think just to round this off, we can just emphasize how EDG looked the way we thought they would look coming into play-ins as a very dominant team. However, we have got more League of Legends coming up, and then we can see if Detonation FocusMe can answer with a win of their own when we return for Game 2.
They know the EDG are the favorites, but they're coming in with comfort, and they're coming in looking to create the upset. You can also see Priority in the bot, bit of skirmishing going on.
Vivid very, very low, might be taken down here. EDG looking to find that early aggro, they've got it! Oh, they are snowballing this bottom lane completely out of control. Hextech ultimatum down on a Scout. DFM still looking to fight back. They may take down Scout, but they've already lost their own mid laner, and they're running for their lives. They're trying to get the kill onto Evie, and they've already got it. Steel gonna be in danger of dropping here next. The double kill goes over to Scout, who's now behind enemy lines, but totally comfortable hanging out. EDG is running everyone down. Ray goes godlike. This should be the ace. Detonation FocusMe is completely wiped out.